You think this war is about nuclear weapons, about regional stability, about protecting allies or defending democracy or fighting terrorism. That's the press release. That's the narrative packaged for congressional hearings and evening news broadcasts and history textbooks that will be written by the winners. The reality is darker and far more profitable. Modern war is the world's most expensive research and development laboratory, the most sophisticated live-fire testing environment ever created, a proving ground where theoretical capabilities become combat-validated systems with price tags that multiply by factors of 10 the moment they perform under fire. The defense contractors are getting restless. They have trillions of dollars of inventory sitting in warehouses and on drawing boards. Weapons systems that have never been tested against a real adversary with real defenses in real combat conditions. Experimental technologies that exist in classified briefings and Pentagon procurement documents but have never demonstrated their value in the only way that matters to buyers. War is how you turn a prototype into a product. War is how you turn a budget line item into a revenue stream. War is how you turn theoretical capability into market dominance. Iran isn't America's enemy. Iran is America's laboratory. Over the next 17 minutes, I'm going to show you 7 experimental weapons that America wants to test on Iranian soil, Iranian infrastructure, and Iranian people. Not because Iran uniquely threatens American security, but because Iran provides the optimal testing environment for technologies that will reshape warfare for the next century. By the end, you'll understand that the outcome of this war matters far less than the process. Win or lose, the data will be collected. The systems will be validated. The contracts will be signed, and the weapons tested today in Iran will be sold tomorrow to every nation willing to pay. This isn't conspiracy. This is commerce. Subscribe now. You're about to see warfare as it actually is. Not a conflict between nations, but a product demonstration for the global arms market. Let's begin with a weapon so silent, so invisible, and so devastating that most people don't know it exists. A weapon that doesn't kill soldiers or destroy buildings. A weapon that kills economies and collapses civilizations without firing a single bullet. Project Champ, Counter-Electronics' high-power microwave advanced missile project. The weapon that fries banking systems and power grids in silence. Champ is a cruise missile equipped with a high-powered microwave emitter. It flies over a target, pulses electromagnetic energy, and destroys every electronic device within its radius. Computers, servers, control systems, communications equipment, medical devices, banking infrastructure. Everything with a circuit board becomes a brick. The weapon was tested successfully over a decade ago. In 2012, Champ flew over a 2-story building in Utah and disabled every electronic system inside, without damaging the structure or harming any personnel. The Air Force called it revolutionary. Then the project went dark. Classified. Development continued in silence. Iran's economy depends on electronic infrastructure just like every modern nation. Its banking system, its power grid, its communications networks, its military command and control. Champ can destroy all of it in a single pass, without explosions, without casualties, without the dramatic footage that turns international opinion against American operations. Imagine Iran's central bank going offline, its power plants shutting down simultaneously, its air defense radars going blind. Not from missiles they can shoot down or bombs they can photograph for propaganda. From an invisible pulse that leaves no crater and no bodies. Just darkness, just collapse, just chaos. But frying electronics is almost quaint compared to what's being prepared for Iran's defenses. Because the next weapon doesn't just disable systems. It thinks, it learns, it swarms, and it cannot be stopped by any defense system currently deployed. The Golden Horde, America's autonomous AI swarm. Hive-mind micro-drones that overwhelm air defenses through sheer coordinated intelligence. Traditional air defense works by tracking individual targets and engaging them one by one. Radar detects a missile. Computers calculate an intercept solution. A defender is launched. The math assumes you can engage threats faster than they arrive. The Golden Horde breaks this math entirely. Imagine 1,000 small drones launched simultaneously. Each one carries sensors, communications, and limited weapons capability. But the swarm's power isn't in individual drones. It's in their collective intelligence. They communicate constantly, sharing data, coordinating movement, identifying and exploiting gaps in defensive coverage. When one drone detects a radar emission, the entire swarm knows. When defenders engage a group, the swarm reconfigures around the attack. When gaps appear in coverage, drones flow through like water, finding cracks in a dam. No human controls each drone. The AI controls the swarm. The swarm controls the battlefield. Iran's air defenses were designed for a different era. Russian S-300 systems. Indigenous variants. Networks built to engage aircraft and missiles that behave predictably. Against 1,000 autonomous drones that think collectively, adapt instantly, and sacrifice individuals to achieve swarm objectives, these defenses become expensive irrelevancies. The Golden Horde has been in development for years. The Air Force has conducted live tests. The technology works. What's missing is combat validation against a real integrated air defense system operated by a real adversary under real conditions. Iran provides exactly that testing environment. But overwhelming air defenses with robot swarms is, in its own way, still conventional warfare. Still kinetic. Still about destroying physical things. The next weapon operates in a domain far more devastating. A domain where the target isn't infrastructure or military assets. The target is the human mind itself. Cognitive warfare and AI deep psyops. Hijacking state media with indistinguishable deepfakes to trigger internal mutiny. Modern artificial intelligence can generate video of any person saying anything. The technology has advanced to the point where detection is nearly impossible even for experts. Voice cloning requires minutes of sample audio. Facial mapping requires only photographs. The result is synthetic media indistinguishable from reality. Now imagine this capability weaponized against a nation already experiencing internal tensions. A video appears on Iranian state television showing Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei announcing surrender. Another shows IRGC commanders confessing to corruption and ordering troops to stand down. Another shows religious authorities declaring the war un-Islamic and calling for peace. None of it is real. All of it is indistinguishable from real. The psychological impact cascades through a society already under stress. Who do you trust? What orders do you follow? Which broadcasts are authentic? The confusion itself becomes the weapon. A population that cannot trust its own information environment cannot coordinate resistance. American psychological operations have existed since World War II, but AI multiplies their power exponentially. A single team with the right technology can produce thousands of targeted deepfakes in hours. Distributed across social media, broadcast through hacked channels, leaked to journalists who cannot verify authenticity in time. The information battle space becomes unwinnable for defenders who lack the technology to respond in kind. Iran's theocratic legitimacy depends on the perceived authority of its leadership. Deepfakes that erode that authority don't need to convince everyone. They just need to create enough doubt, enough hesitation, enough fracture in the social cohesion that makes organized resistance possible. Mainstream media catalogs tanks and jets like it's 1999. On this channel, we decode the classified architecture of modern power. Subscribe now if you want to see the future of warfare before it happens. The mind is one target. The economy is another. And the weapon being prepared for Iran's financial system makes the Champ microwave look like a gentle inconvenience. The swift guillotine and algorithmic starvation. NSA and Treasury AI tracking and evaporating offshore crypto and dark money in milliseconds. Iran has spent years developing workarounds to American sanctions. Cryptocurrency transactions, shell companies in friendly jurisdictions, barter arrangements with Russia and China, underground banking networks that move money without touching the formal financial system. American intelligence has spent those same years mapping every one of these networks. The technology now exists to track cryptocurrency transactions across blockchains in real time, despite the supposed anonymity of the technology. AI systems can identify patterns, link wallets to real-world entities, and flag transactions for interdiction faster than humans can execute them. The SWIFT system, which facilitates most international bank transfers, is already weaponized as a sanctions tool. Iran was partially disconnected in 2012 and more comprehensively in 2018. But the new capability goes further. Imagine an AI system that monitors every financial pathway Iran uses, formal and informal. The moment funds move, the system identifies them. Accounts are frozen. Transactions are reversed. Cryptocurrency wallets are blacklisted across every compliant exchange simultaneously. Shell companies are exposed and sanctioned before they can complete a single deal. The result is algorithmic starvation, not a blockade of physical goods, though that continues. A blockade of money itself. An economy that cannot move funds cannot function, cannot pay soldiers, cannot import food, cannot maintain the basic transactions that allow a society to operate. This weapon doesn't shed blood. It doesn't create the images of destruction that generate international sympathy. It simply strangles an economy with mathematical precision, invisible to everyone except those dying slowly from its effects. But financial warfare operates over weeks and months. The next weapon operates at the speed of light. Literally, high-energy laser weapon systems. Hells, testing speed of light directed energy to melt drones for $1 a shot, replacing multi-million-dollar interceptors. Iran's drone program has become its asymmetric advantage. Cheap, numerous, difficult to intercept with traditional missile defenses. Each Shahid drone costs perhaps $20,000. Each interceptor missile costs between $100,000 and $3 million. The math is unsustainable. Iran can produce drones faster and cheaper than America can produce missiles to shoot them down. Lasers change this equation entirely. A high-energy laser weapon uses electricity to generate a focused beam of light that heats targets until they fail. No ammunition to deplete. No expensive missiles to fire. Operating costs measured in dollars per shot rather than millions. As long as you have electrical power, you have unlimited ammunition. The technology has been in development for decades. Recent advances have made the system smaller, more powerful, and more reliable. Prototype systems have successfully destroyed drones, mortars, and small boats in testing. The Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines all have laser weapon programs in various stages of deployment. What's missing is extended combat validation, performance data against real threats in real operational conditions, reliability metrics across thousands of engagements. The data that turns a promising technology into a proven system that every ally wants to purchase. Iran's drone swarms provide the perfect target set. Numerous, persistent, low-cost enough that Iran will keep sending them regardless of losses. Every drone destroyed is another data point, another validation, another line item in the briefing that will convince Congress to fund full-scale production. The lasers being tested in the Middle East today will be defending European cities and Asian allies tomorrow. But first, they need a testing ground. They need Iran. Yet even lasers are limited by line of sight. They can't reach targets over the horizon. They can't affect satellites in orbit. The next weapon operates in a domain that most people don't even know has been weaponized. The orbital blindfold. Space-based electronic warfare that instantly erases GPS and blinds incoming ballistic missiles mid-flight. Modern warfare depends on satellites. GPS provides navigation for everything from smart bombs to infantry squads. Communications satellites enable command and control across global distances. Reconnaissance satellites provide intelligence that shapes every operational decision. The United States has invested heavily in capabilities to deny these advantages to adversaries while protecting its own space assets. Space-based electronic warfare systems can jam GPS signals across entire regions, denying precision navigation to enemy forces while American systems operate on encrypted channels unaffected by the jamming. The same systems can blind the guidance systems of ballistic missiles, causing them to miss their targets by kilometers even if they survive the boost phase. Iran's ballistic missile program is its strategic deterrent. The ability to strike American bases, allied capitals, and Israeli cities represents Iran's guarantee against regime change. Remove that capability, and Iran loses its ability to impose costs on attackers. Space-based systems can do exactly that, not by shooting down missiles, which is expensive and uncertain, by blinding them, by corrupting their guidance, by turning precision weapons into unguided projectiles that land harmlessly in empty desert. The technology exists. The capability has been tested. What remains is operational validation against a real adversary launching real missiles under real combat conditions. Iran provides that validation. And now we arrive at the final weapon, the most brutal, the most kinetic, the weapon designed for a single purpose that has defined American military planning for 2 decades. The GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, the MOP. 30,000 pounds of man-made earthquake designed to bury Iran's underground nuclear facilities. Iran has spent decades building its most sensitive nuclear infrastructure deep underground. Fordow is buried inside a mountain under 90 meters of rock and reinforced concrete. Natanz has been hardened and deepened after previous sabotage. The facilities were designed specifically to survive American air attack. The MOP was designed specifically to defeat that strategy. At 30,000 pounds, it's the largest non-nuclear bomb in the American arsenal. It carries over 5,000 pounds of high explosives. But the explosive power isn't the point. The kinetic energy is the point. Dropped from a B-2 stealth bomber at high altitude, the MOP accelerates to terminal velocity. It penetrates through 60 meters of reinforced concrete before detonating. The detonation creates a seismic shock wave that propagates through the surrounding rock, collapsing chambers and tunnels that the bomb itself never touched. One bomb creates a localized earthquake. Multiple bombs dropped in sequence multiply the effect, each strike weakening structures that subsequent strikes collapse entirely. The MOP has been tested at American ranges. It has penetrated hardened targets in controlled conditions. What it hasn't done is destroy a real underground facility defended by a real adversary with real consequences for failure. Fordow and Natanz provide that test. Success validates the weapon system. Success proves to every nation considering underground facilities that America can reach them regardless of how deep they dig. Success becomes the sales pitch for allies who want the same capability. And this is where we arrive at the truth that underlies everything I've shown you. The military-industrial complex wins regardless of who wins the war. Lockheed Martin doesn't care whether Iran's air defenses are destroyed or whether American jets are shot down. Either outcome generates data. Either outcome identifies requirements for next-generation systems. Either outcome justifies procurement. Raytheon doesn't care whether laser weapons perform perfectly or experience unexpected failures. Perfect performance sells the current system. Failures sell the improved system that addresses the failures. Either way, contracts are signed. The companies developing cognitive warfare capabilities don't care whether deepfakes trigger Iranian surrender or whether Iran develops countermeasures. Effective operations sell the technology. Countermeasures sell countermeasures. The cycle continues indefinitely. Once these weapons are tested in the Iranian laboratory, their market value multiplies. Combat Proven is the most valuable certification in the global arms market. It transforms experimental technology into must-have capability. It transforms Pentagon budget items into export products. The systems validated against Iran will be sold to Saudi Arabia, to the UAE, to Israel, to Japan, to South Korea, to NATO allies, to anyone willing to pay premium prices for weapons that have demonstrated performance against a real adversary. This is why war happens. Not because nations have irreconcilable differences, but because peace doesn't generate the data that makes weapons valuable. Peace doesn't validate systems. Peace doesn't create the combat record that commands premium prices in the global market. The 7 weapons I've described cost hundreds of billions to develop. Recovering that investment requires sales. Sales require proof of effectiveness. Proof requires combat. Iran provides combat. The Iranian people, the Iranian soldiers, the Iranian infrastructure, all of it becomes test targets for technologies that will be sold globally for decades to come. Their suffering is the price of validation. Their deaths are the data points that populate performance specifications. This is the architecture of modern warfare. Not nations fighting for survival. Corporations fighting for market share, using nations as proving grounds and populations as test subjects. The outcome of the war is almost irrelevant. Regime change or negotiated settlement or prolonged stalemate, none of it changes the fundamental transaction. The weapons were tested. The data was collected. The products were validated. The sales brochures are being printed right now. You've now seen behind the curtain. You've seen that war isn't what they tell you it is. It's not about democracy or security or protecting allies. It's about research and development budgets. It's about shareholder returns. It's about market positioning for technologies that need combat credentials. Iran is the laboratory. The Iranian people are the test subjects. And the products being validated will define warfare for the next 50 years. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing the systems behind the headlines. Share this with someone who still believes wars are about the reasons politicians claim. And understand that the next time you hear about a new weapons system, you're not hearing about defense. You're hearing about a product looking for a market. And war is how products find markets. The tragedy isn't the war itself. The tragedy is that the war is just the sales pitch.